Buenas noches, clase. Ahora no es el día, no hay sol. Now it's not daytime. No sun, es la noche. Buenas noches. Y bienvenidos a Lección 2. Welcome to Lesson 2. As we see here, it's all about las clases. And we are in la página 23 of our book, or the B-text. And we're going to be taking a look at what the goals of the lesson are. And as we see here, they are, oh, there's our little highlighter. Hola, highlighter. Our goals are learning to talk about people, places, and classes. Express likes and dislikes, or we're going to love that. How to ask questions, and then describing the location of people and things. So it's quite a lesson. We are really going to take a giant leap. Let's look down here at the bottom. Para empezar, to begin. ¿Cuántas personas hay en la foto? So repeat what you hear always after me. ¿Cuántas personas hay en la foto? ¿Dos o tres? How many people are in the photo? 2 or 3? And we can answer, hay dos personas. ¿Son profesores o estudiantes? ¿Son profesores o estudiantes? Are they professors or estudiantes? We know our little word hay, H-A-Y, not ay, but H-A-Y. I, or would we say? Oh, that's there are. There is or there are. How would we say they are? Easy mistake. We would say son. Son. They are. S-O-N. S-O-N. Son estudiantes. ¿Dónde están? And we're going to be learning about that word, estar and están. Where are they? ¿Dónde están? ¿En un laboratorio o en una universidad? Well, we could look at the university as a lab, I think. But we're going to answer here, ¿en un laboratorio? Laboratorio o en una universidad? So we would answer, están, for they are. Están en una universidad. Están en una universidad. Excelente, mis estudiantes. Bueno, ahora vamos a las páginas. I'm going to make a double page here. And I'm going to fit it to size here. 24 y 25, 24 and 25. So either on your V-text or in your book, we're going to be looking at las clases. And as we see here on the left-hand side, we are going to start with los lugares. And I'm looking for el señor highlighter. Maybe it's la señorita highlighter. I don't see her coming out yet. I will keep trying. Meanwhile, let's look at los lugares. A lugar is a place. It's just a generic place. Same word in English. There is a place I know. Have you been to that place? Do you know that place? That is lugar. So these are places in the university or around the campus. La cafeteria. La cafeteria. What do we call that word? A cognate. Absolutamente. Ay, aquí está, ay, el highlighter. Buenas noches, highlighter. La cafetería is a total cognate almost. So if I ask you, ¿hay una cafetería a UM? Is there a cafeteria at UM? Sí, hay una cafetería. This word is very often a false cognate, or a false friend. It looks like it should be the library. La librería. La librería. And we see the little accent over that I at the end, like cafeteria, that makes us pronounce it at the end. But libro, the word book, of course we get from this word and from Latin, but it means the bookstore. So if you see la librería, remember libro, you buy books there. And this word for a dorm we really don't use at UM. La residencia, which is residence, estudiantil, which is describing a student facility. La residencia estudiantil. No hay una residencia estudiantil. AUM. ¿Dónde hay? Hay a Carroll College, ¿verdad? Sí, hay una residencia. There is a dorm, or in several dorms. And of course, the university, la universidad. La universidad. And that again is a cognate. Many of these words will be from class vocabulary. ¿Y hay un estadio AUM? Is there a stadium? ¿El estadio? No, Juliana. No hay un estadio AUM. No, we don't have a stadium. We do next door at the high school, but not on our campus. Now here's our word for library, and it has the word biblio. This word book, biblio, is taken from Greek. And of course we get the word Bible from this word. La biblioteca. That is the library. La biblioteca. ¿Hay una biblioteca? AUM? Sí. Hay una biblioteca buena. There is a good library. Una biblioteca buena. Now, we have los cursos, the classes, or the courses. And the first one is kind of tough because part of it is not a cognate, and it's a little bit difficult to remember. But if we are majoring in business administration, we call it la administración de empresas. La administración de empresas. And of course, administration is the same as English. It's an exact cognate. Empresas is the word for business. Las empresas. And that's a little bit difficult because it's not really a cognate. El arte. If you're majoring in art, el arte, or taking an art class, you're going to love this one. Biology. La biología. That G is soft because it's followed by an I. La biología. And there's our accent on that final A. La biología. And the G is just about at your Adam's apple right there in the middle of your throat. La biología. La clase. La clase. Accounting. Many of us are taking accounting classes. La contabilidad. La contabilidad. And the verb contar in Spanish is to count. And of course we get that coming into English with a C-O-U-N-T. So that is why it's accounting. La contabilidad. And courses, los cursos, los cursos. And we've already seen this word several times, el español, which we are taking. Physics, la física, la física. That accent at the very beginning there over the I makes us pronounce it la física. History, la historia, la historia. Remember at the very beginning of our course we had a little story about Juliana and her life in Helena, and I titled it La Historia. So it means either a story or history. And we can tell how it's used by its context. English, the language, el inglés, el inglés. Ooh, here's a mouthful. Are you ready? Las lenguas extranjeras. As I mentioned, the J sounds as though you were about to cough up a hairball, and I've seen a couple of you in your discussion posts mention that. Lengua is also another word for the tongue, the part of your body, the tongue. So it's also for foreign tongues. Las lenguas extranjeras. Let's try it one more time. Las lenguas extranjeras. And math is always plural. It's las matemáticas. There's our accent over that A. Las matemáticas. Math. Journalism. Many of us are going to be majoring in journalism. El periodismo. El periodismo. And the word el periódico is the daily newspaper in Spanish. Here's the favorite one of all, psychology. And practically all of us need to take psychology as an undergraduate requirement. Otherwise, we probably would never use this word in Spanish because it is a challenge. And this is one of those words that you go into the bathroom alone and try in front of the mirror with the doors closed. So, the object is to pronounce the P, the S, and the I all together. Psi. Psi. Now be careful. It could turn into a word that is not such a good word in our language. Psi. 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 La psicología. La psicología. And if you want to try this on Dr. Munn, you have my blessings at UM, who teaches psychology. And he'll probably ask you if you're going to be taking his abnormal psychology class when you try to pronounce this word. Let's try it one more time. La psicología. Psi, psi, psi. We say the P, the S, and the I all together. Sociology, another mouthful, but not quite as much of a challenge. La sociología. Again, there's that accent over the final I where we stress the word. La sociología. One more time. La sociología. And there is Profesora Juliana showing with her little wand. La geografía. Geography. La geografía. Notice we have a soft G because it's followed by an E here at the beginning, and then gra because it's followed by an R, a consonant. So we have both G's in one sentence, or one word. La geografía. Ready for another round? Here we go. A la página 25. En la clase. Now we're going to talk about things that are in the class. And of course, we're going to be putting these words together in sentences, so don't get overwhelmed by just a long list of words at the beginning here. We'll just kind of go with it, have fun, and we'll be using these in sentences. El borrador. Here's where we can just use those rolling R's all we want. El borrador. 2 R's together, and I'm just exaggerating, which they do in the Spanish-speaking world. El borrador. And if you say el borrador, don't worry, as I mentioned before, you will still be loved for trying to use the word and not rolling your R's. El examen. El examen. This is for an exam or a longer test. As you saw in our Module 1, we had a prueba this week, and a prueba, of course, is a quiz. Probably seemed more like an exam, but we called it a prueba. So, el examen. Schedule. El horario. Ooh, another 2 R's. And with a silent H, so we don't even hear it. El horario. El horario. Again, if you say el horario, that's the Montana way to say it. Table, la mesa. La mesa. And of course, we see lots of mesas in the desert. And there is a beautiful mesa on the way to Great Falls. On the left-hand side of the highway, about halfway to Great Falls. So it comes from a Spanish word meaning a flat, leveled rise on the earth. El papel. El papel. And this can be a piece of paper, or it can be a paper that you have to write for a course. El papel. And thank goodness we no longer have a chalkboard or blackboard. So I call what we use at school now la pizarra. La pizarra. And I call it la pizarra blanca. Blanca meaning white. So I call it a whiteboard, la pizarra blanca. La pluma. La pluma. Now this was the first word for pen, and in the Spanish language you can probably guess why, from the word pluma. Can you guess what pluma is or was? It's a feather. And the first pens, of course, were quills. They were feathers. And so the original word for fountain pen or pen is la pluma. And we'll learn another word as we go along. And here we have la prueba, quiz, la prueba, la puerta, la puerta, the door, la puerta. And semester, el semestre, very much a cognate, el semestre. Chair, la silla. Remember the double L is like a y, just like silla, la silla. Homework, oh, we know that word already, la tarea, la tarea. And chalk, we really don't need to know that word, but they still include it in some even modern textbooks. La tiza, la tiza. Who knows, you might want to draw a game on the sidewalk, a chalk game, using tiza. And the trimester or quarter, el trimestre, for try, el trimestre. Window, la ventana, la ventana. And of course, we get lots of words from V-E-N-T, which is from Latin. Ventilation, ventilator, to vent, means to let out the hot air either in or out of the window, right? La ventana. Remember, the V is like a B. La ventana. And here is one of my favorite words because it gives us a chance again to cough up a hairball in learning how to pronounce it. This is another great bathroom word, or something in the car instead of texting now, or talking on the phone. You can practice some of these words. Its emphasis is on the J, or the stress of this word. And I'm going to say it slowly and exaggerated. El reloj. That J is in the bottom of your throat. Remember, you're coughing up a fur ball or phlegm. El reloj. And of course, they're not going to be saying that when they're saying, it's the word for clock or watch. Hay un reloj en la clase. No. They're not going to be saying that. So you're barely going to hear the J. As you speed up and learn to pronounce it, it's going to be hay el reloj en la clase. Reloj. It's a slight tick in the throat. El reloj. Okay, now the watch. El libro. El libro. Very easy word. Now we come to las personas. Some of the people that we encounter in school. Persona, of course, we get the word person. That's directly from the Latin word persona. So we have el, if it's a male, or la, compañero or compañera de clase. So it's a classmate. Compañero or compañera is not necessarily a friend. It could be, but it really means a mate of class. Or here, el or la compañero, compañera de cuarto, meaning a roommate. And many of us have compañeros or compañeras de cuarto. And cuarto is the generic word for a room. So let's try. El compañero de clase. La compañera de clase. El compañero de cuarto. La compañera de cuarto. And then, of course, we have words like estudiante, which don't change to show whether they're feminine or masculine, with an O or an A. We tell the gender by using el estudiante, for a male student, and la estudiante, for the female. El estudiante, la estudiante. And here, of course, we have el profesor, a total cognate, really. El profesor. And we're going to see in another page or two that we can change this word now to make it feminine. So, of course, por supuesto, yo soy la profesora Juliana. So we can say la and we can add an A. La profesora Juliana es muy inteligente, ¿verdad? Y muy bonita. Sí. I'm not even going to translate that. Now we come to los días de la semana. Remember this little word día, even though it ends in an A, it's one of those exceptions in Spanish that is masculine. Los días de la semana, the days of the week. Los días de la semana. And I could sing a days of the week song for you, but you probably would never forgive me. It's a first grade song, and once you learn it, you can never forget it. You would probably go to sleep singing it. If enough of you want me to, I will. for now, let's just say the words and learn them. Some cultures and calendars start the week with Sunday, some start with Monday. The Spanish calendar starts with lunes, Monday. Lunes. Notice the days of the week in English are capitalized. They are not in Spanish. Lunes. Martes. Martes. Miércoles. See the accent over the E for the stress there. Miércoles. Miércoles. Jueves. With a b sound. Jueves. Jueves. And that J in the throat. I love that word. I always like it when it's Thursday. Es jueves. Friday. Viernes. 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 Saturday. Sábado. There's our accent over that first A for our stress. Sábado. Sábado. And Sunday, domingo. 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 And to say the day, el día. Remember, it's masculino, this word. El día es martes. El día es miércoles. El día es sábado. Okay, the day is. La semana. La semana. Hay 7 días en una semana, ¿verdad? Hay 7 días en una semana, ¿verdad? There are 7 days in a week, right? Right. Hoy es. Hoy es. Today is. Oh, let's say hoy es lunes. Today is Monday. Hoy es viernes. Hoy es viernes. So this is a good practice to practice today is for the days of the week. So there we have it, las clases y el vocabulario. Muchísimas gracias y hasta la próxima.